Why you should reconsider renting your current home. Hey, Jordan here, and I know that a lot of people, even myself, will buy a property, live in it for a couple of years, and then turn around and try to rent that property and buy something else. Now, this is a good tool for you to be able to build wealth. I like where you're going with it, right? You are trying to build rentals. Here's the catch-22. When you've lived in a property for 2 of the last 5 years, you have what's called capital gains exemption. Capital gain means that your property went up in value. Right? So if you bought it for $200 and now it's worth $400 and you were to sell it, you'd have $200,000 in capital gains. Now, when you've moved out of a property and it's been out for at least 3 years, right? 3 of the last 5, your capital exemption starts to go down. And at 5 years, you have 0 capital exemption. It's $250,000 capital exemption for single people and $500,000 capital exemption for married couples. Although it could be good for you to rent it if you don't have a ton of equity in that property to rent it, especially if you have a low interest rate, it may make financial sense. You may not care that you may get taxed on that later. But in a perfect situation, I'd rather have you sell it. If there's a lot of capital, sell that property and then go purchase an investment property. Another thought is that a lot of these properties people are purchasing as first-time home buyers are not necessarily the best rentals. A duplex is a phenomenal rental. A small single-family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You really want to have an asset that makes sense. And then you can still go buy something, your second home. But what you're doing is you're taking that capital exemption, you're increasing your basis. So instead of, in that example, at $200, now your new property is at $400. And if you do sell it in 10 years, you're not paying all that tax from the $200 to $400. You're saving that tax and it's built into your equity and ultimately your net worth. Of course, always talk to a CPA. And more importantly, one of the great real estate brokers here at Matin Real Estate.